this is Teacher Kapembwa. I will take you in mathematics. And if you can remember very well, last time in mathematics, we were looking at time, of which we discussed to say there are 24 hours in a day. So 24 hours, you said 24 hours make a day. Then we said there are 60 minutes in an hour, meaning 60 minutes make an hour. Then from there, we also looked at how many days make a week, of which we discussed to say there are 7 days in a week, meaning 7 days make a week. Okay, now today I want us to look at how we can tell time on a clock. So here with me is a clock that is going to guide us as we proceed with our lesson. So we're going to look at how you can tell time in the morning as well as in the afternoon. Okay. Okay, so we are still looking at measurements now. Under measurements, we are going to look at time. Okay, now how do we tell time in the morning and in the afternoon? For this lesson, we are just going to look at telling time in hours in the morning as well as in the afternoon. Now, when you're looking at a clock, there are 3 hands that are there. But then, for our lesson today, we're just going to focus on 2 hands. So we are going to look at the long hand, which is here. We're going to look at the long hand as well as the short hand. In our previous lesson, we said the short hand shows hours, while the long hand shows minutes. Okay. Then we also discussed that when the long hand points at 12, for the minutes there, it shows 0, 0. So every time when the long hand is on 12, it shows 0, 0. Okay, then our focus should just based on the short hand, which we said is 4 hours. Okay, just like we discussed, say there are 24 hours in a day. So maybe if we were to look at the clock, which is here, the model of a clock, we can tell that the short hand is pointing at 7, meaning if it's in the morning, this is 7 hours. So you start by recognizing the hour, then you go to minutes. So if you look at the clock here, it's pointing at 7, meaning the time is 0, 07. Then after you recognize the hour, now you need to also consider the hand for minutes. I said earlier that when the hand for minutes is pointing at 12, meaning on the minutes there, it is 0, 0. So in this case, the time shown on the clock is 07 hours. Okay, now I would love us to try and see how we can tell time. Okay, now I would love you to pay attention as I'll be writing the hours as well as the minutes on the clock. So what we need to consider is, firstly, you need to write 12, then opposite 12 we have 6, then the sideways, this side we have 3, then the other side we have 9. If you write like this, it is going to help you to fix in the missing numbers. So after 12 there, we have 1, then we have 2. After 3, there is 4, then we have 5. After 6, we have 7, then 8. Then after 9 there are only 2 numbers that are missing. So we have 10 as well as 11. Remember I said we are just going to focus on 2 hands that are found on the clock. So the first hand will point at 12. So we'll take this as our center. The first hand that is going to point at 12 will be the longer one compared to the one which will point in any direction. So we have that hand which is for minutes. Now let's take for instance, if the short hand which we are saying is for hours was pointing at 3. Okay, now I would like you there to tell me what hour it is in the morning. Okay, if you are paying attention when I was talking about the clock, I said the shorthand points at hours. So when you look at where it is pointing at 3. So meaning when it comes to hours, this is 03. Now where is the long hand pointing? It is pointing at 12. So when you look at the long hand, it is pointing at 12, of which I said when the long hand is pointing at 12, it means for on the part of minutes it is 0, 0. So meaning this is 03 hours in the morning. So in the morning starts from 01, 02, 03, 04, 05 up to 12 hours. Okay, so the time which is shown on the clock there, this is 03 hours. 03 hours. Okay, now we can tell the time in the afternoon. Afternoon starts from 12 up to 18. It starts from 12 up to 18. So if we were to tell time in the afternoon, looking at where it is pointing, we can say when you're telling time in the afternoon starts from 12. If you are counting properly, after 12, the number that follows after 12, it's 13. Meaning, if the hand is pointing at 1, then it becomes 13. If the hand is pointing at, the short hand is pointing at 2, it's 14. If the short hand is pointing at 3, it is, I would love you to tell me the time. We started from 12, 13, 14. So what hour is it in the afternoon? You find that in the afternoon, this is 15 hours. So we cannot write 15 hours there, but then we can tell that it is 15 hours if you start, I said time in the afternoon starts from 12 hours. So from 12 we have 13, 14, 15. If we are to proceed in counting, we are going to have 12, 13, 14, 15. This would be 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. Okay, so when you look at the shorthand, which is for hours, it is pointing at 3, of which if we start from 12, it is going to tell us, say, this is 12, 13, 14, 15. So the time in the afternoon is 15. Then where is the long hand pointing? At 12. So meaning we have 15 hours. So the time in the afternoon, which is shown on the clock, is 15 hours. Okay, so it is not even that difficult for you to recognize the hours in the afternoon. All you need to do is start from 12. I said afternoon begins from 12, so from 12, here we are going to have 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. So it is easier to tell time in the morning, in the afternoon. It makes it easier to tell time in the morning because you can only say, if the short hand is pointing at 1, you're going to say 01 hours. So here with me is a model of a clock. So this is the short hand for hours, then this is the long hand for minutes. So I said, if the long hand is pointing at 12, then on the part of minutes there it is 00. What if this short hand is pointing at 1? What hour is it? If this short hand is pointing at 1, what hour is it? Okay, so we have the long hand pointing at 12, then the short hand for hours it is pointing at 1. So we can tell to say the time shown on the clock, will start with the short hand which is pointing at 1. So the short hand is pointing at 1, meaning the time there which is being shown on the clock, it's we start with hours, 01. What of the minutes? It is pointing at 12. I said at 12 there, it is 00. So the time shown on the clock there, it is 01 hours. That is in the morning. If the short hand maybe is pointing at 2, then that becomes that becomes 02 hours. If the short hand is pointing at 3, if the short hand is pointing at 3, it becomes 03 hours, which is also shown on the clock on the board there. If the short hand is pointing at 4, then it becomes 04 hours. If the short hand is pointing at 5, like that, then it becomes 05 hours. If it is pointing at 6, then it becomes 06 hours, which is written like that. If it is pointing at 7, then it becomes 07 hours. So we can move on and on. If it is pointing at 11, okay, then the time which is being shown there, it is 11 hours, which can be written like this. Okay, so this is how we tell time in the morning. But then, what if it is pointing at 11 and it's night? What time is it? So what you need to do is start from 12. You count 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. So if it's in the night, you find that the time will be 23 hours. Okay, so this is how we can tell time in the morning. Then, in the afternoon, you find that, okay, if both of them are pointing at 12. Then what time is it? So start with the shorthand. In this case, the shorthand is the purple one there. So where is the shorthand pointing? You will find that it is pointing at 12, meaning the time is 12 hours. Then if it moves to 1, if the shorthand moves to 1, then it is 13 hours. If the shorthand moves to 2, like that, then the time which is shown on the clock is, we said 12, 13, then what could be that one? You find that where the shorthand is pointing, that is the 12 hour. I mean, you start from 12, 13, 14. So where the shorthand is pointing, that is 14 hours. Then if it moves to 3, the time which is shown on the clock there, that is 15 hours. How do I know? Start from 12, 13, 14, 15. So the time which is shown on the clock, it's 15 hours. Okay, I'm sure by now you can tell to say from 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Okay. Alright, so in our lesson we've discussed that there are 3 hands on the clock, but I wanted us to just look at the 2 hands. I just wanted us to look at 2 hands. We said the short hand, which is there, and the long hand. I said the short hand points or shows hours, then the long hand shows minutes. But then our focus was just on the hours in the morning and in the afternoon. So we said for hours in the morning, I said the morning starts from 01, 02, 03, 04, 05, 06, 07, 08, 09, 10 hours, 11 hours. So that is the morning time. Then afternoon time starts from 12. After 12 we have 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So afternoon starts from 12 going up until 17. Then evening begins from 18 there. Okay, so at this point in time, I would love you to do an activity where you are. Take note of what I'm going to write as an exercise for you. Okay, so the instruction is saying, show the time given on the clocks below. So what you're going to do is, you're going to show the time that you're given on each clock. So we have question A, we have question B, and question C. So you're going to write the time on the dashes given. We are going to identify the hour here. You write it down, as well as the numbers that are supposed to be there. Even here, you show the time in the morning, then you show the time in the afternoon. Here, you show the time in the morning as well as in the afternoon. Okay. So this was Teacher Kapembwa from Fountain School, grade 2B teacher. I'm saying thank you for your attention.